your business, you want to make amazing things happen. And maybe you're like one of those people that I can work with anybody and everybody. However, usually that means you're spread really thin and it's going to take a lot of work to make a little bit of money. Luckily, though, there are riches in the niches, and I'm super excited today to be joined by Frank King, who's here to talk to us about Pick a Lane.
That's right. Yes, Frank King, professional speaker.
Yeah.
Started
You've
stand-up
actually been
comedy.
speaking for what, like decades now, right?
Well, started in stand-up comedy day after Christmas, 1985. Jumped to the corporate comedy market in 95. And then after the last recession, 2012, went from a funny speaker to a speaker who's funny. And then I decided to take Jane Atkinson's advice, the wealthy speaker coach or whatever she is. She's a lovely lady. Her advice is pick a lane. So I did. Because of my mental health history, my family, there are more nuts in my family than a squirrel turd. I decided I could keynote on suicide prevention if I got some training. I did. Second hurdle, who's going to take a comedian seriously? So I did my first TEDx talk to prove I could do that seriously. I just did my 10th TEDx talk, by the way, all on mental health, because that's my lane. I believe in speaking that picking a lane is very important because you want to be a thought leader, the expert. But you know what? Any business, the reason I picked a lane, besides Jane Atkinson, speaker coach, saying that is, I looked around my community, picked two businesses completely different, both extremely successful. One auto paint and body shop, and a guy who owned two radio stations, both extremely successful. And I thought to myself, what do they have in common? And I realized they do one thing and they do it extremely well. No side hustles, no, this is passive income, only a couple of hours a week. No. So I decided on January 1st that year that I would be a suicide prevention speaker, period, full stop. And it has made all the difference because, if I want whatever, I'm going to go looking for the expert. I love on LinkedIn, you read somebody's profile. I do Bitcoin and blockchain and real estate. Well, I don't want a realtor who also does Bitcoin and blockchain. I want a realtor who that's their expertise. So I think that's important for entrepreneurs is to pick a lane. Then once you pick your lane, I'll give you an example for speakers. Once you pick your lane, you need to pick your ideal clients. Who has a problem that you can solve, and they're willing to pay you to help solve it?
So, that's kind of key, isn't it?
Yes. Whatever the business, figure out. And I say, pick 4 to 6, groups, industries, whatever.
Yeah.
I pick the top 6 at-risk occupations for suicide in the U.S. And that's the only people to whom I market. And I tell my coaching clients, don't spray and pray. You don't need everybody. Seth Godin, my favorite marketing guru, said, you don't need everybody. You just need the smallest viable audience to help, to get you to reach your goals financially. So laser focused on those. And in speaking, for example, I have a homepage, Suicide Prevention Speaking, and I've got a landing page for each of the industries. It's mentalhealthcomedian.com/agriculture/construction. So that when the meeting planner goes looking and they type in the keywords suicide prevention speakers agriculture, my page comes up. And they don't see that I speak to all those other groups. All they see is I speak to the agricultural groups. And it's that, going deep, not wide, riches are in the niches. I had a woman, I did a group of osteopaths. I said, how'd you find me? She goes, Frank, on a whim, I typed in suicide prevention speaker osteopath, and you came up. Because I have a landing page that just exactly that. So again, but whatever industry, business you are in, my advice is no side hustles. No shiny objects. And I've fallen victim. The problem I think for entrepreneurs oftentimes is we can do a lot of things pretty well. Should we do a lot of things? No. Find the thing that you do best. And the idea being that eventually, this is what I tell my coaching clients, eventually you are no longer a commodity in the speaking business, just another speaker speaking on this topic and several others. The goal is that when somebody comes looking for a speaker on your topic, they come looking specifically for you, not just anyway. It's a long game. It's happened a number of times in my career. It's always really sweet, but that's the game. That's the long game is to, and take a look. I would advise your audience members, take a look at your LinkedIn profile now. If you have down in your LinkedIn profile, you do more than one thing. A guy wrote me the other day, and he had 7 things he does in his profile. And he asked for my advice. I said, yeah, can you subtract? Mm-hmm. Okay, subtract 6. And I believe in the LinkedIn profile, the first sentence should be about you.
Okay.
Every other character that they allow you should be about what your client wants. Mine says Frank King, 11 TEDx Talks, coach. Then it says, do you want to make money speaking? Do you want to make money full-time speaking? Do you want to make money speaking and make a difference? And those are questions that speakers are actually asking themselves. And hopefully they're nodding along as they're reading it. Oh, yeah. That's me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What you want to do is join the conversation in their head. Answer the questions. Be what they're looking for.
So if somebody's watching this and struggling and saying, look, Frank, that all sounds well and fine. However, you said it's a long game. And I need these 7 hustles to pay the mortgage or rent, to put food on the table, to put gas in the car, to keep my cell phone on. What do you say to them as they begin to shift, if they're open to it? Some people are going to be like, I can do all these 7 hustles just fine, as they don't sleep and barely pay the rent. But what advice would you give to somebody if they've got a lot going on? How do they begin to narrow down?
I would pick the thing that I do best and begin culling that list. It's like multi-level marketing. What fascinates me about multi-level marketing is I've never met somebody who does MLM, who does just one MLM. I do Amway and Juice Plus and Trinant. Well, if each of those is as good as they appear to be, why don't you go deep? Not why, because every minute you spend on those other 6 side hustles is a minute you're not spending on that one, hopefully, the one you should be spending, the one you're really best at.
It's interesting. I'm sitting here thinking of the people that I know. And I actually know several that only do one, and they're really successful at it. And so it's kind of like, the ones, so I'm thinking of the ones that I know that, some are making a living doing it. Sometimes in MLMs, they can do 10, like you said, and they're not making Starbucks money. But yeah, so the ones that I know that are truly, truly successful are very invested. They're not a yes and this and this and this. They're a one and done.
Well, and in the defense of people who have a lot of side hustles, the one thing I remember from my economics classes at UNC Chapel Hill is something called opportunity cost. If you have 7 hustles, each of them a side hustle, and you pick one, you are giving up the other 6. You are losing the opportunity to make money in those other 6 side hustles. So it can be painful. And I have to work very hard with my clients because they hang on to those. Because, there's going to be a short-term loss. But I believe it'll be a long-term gain if you focus on the one. And by the way, if you have a job, a real job, and you want to be a speaker or a singer or a poet or whatever, keep the real job. Somebody's got to have medical insurance and pay for the mortgage and put food on the table. Don't give that up right away. You let that be a life support system.
Yeah.
As a friend of mine says, as you date that other job. If you think you really like to do it, date it part-time. And the same thing goes. I heard a woman speak about dating a job. Let's say you don't like your job. Okay, well, don't quit. The great quitting, or whatever, great resignation. Just try that job part-time. Or let's say you went to college, you didn't really like your major, and you think you'd like to do something else. Well, nowadays, take a class in that discipline online. In whatever you think you'd like to major in, take a class or 2 and see if it really is where you want to be. But keep the real job to pay the bills, the mortgage, put food on the table. I've never believed in struggling for your art. I had an insurance job when I started comedy. I was doing open mic nights, but I had a good job in insurance. Now, most of the other comics, they quit whatever job they had. And, they were living in their mother's basement, flipping burgers occasionally, starving. I've never been a starving artist kind of guy. I mean, I want, a comfortable life as I pursue my dreams. And it took me a year and a half to go from insurance agent to where I was ready to go out and do comedy full time. And I took a pay cut. It was probably a year before I got back to where I was financially in terms of pay. But I got to tell you, my worst day in comedy was better than my best day in insurance.
And that kind of brings up Matt. Hi, Matt. Good to have you watching with us today. He said, do what you're most passionate about. And I think that really goes well into what you just shared, because if you're passionate about getting up every day and doing comedy or whatever it is for those of you watching, whatever that passion is, then even if we have to do the 9 to 5, even if we're struggling a little bit, we're working towards an end goal. And, Americans, we are very, what can I have and can I have it now? I'm like, wait, I have to wait for Amazon to deliver this to me tomorrow. Why can't I get it today? I mean, it's ridiculous. Remember back in the days, like you ordered something and a month later, yay, It's finally here. And now it's like, won't be delivered till Friday. It's Thursday. What?
I got a note this morning from Amazon. I ordered something. It's supposed to be here today. Well, we're sorry. It's going to be here tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow?
But yeah, so Matt, really great. Do what you are passionate about. Love it. Love it.
And again, my favorite speakers are the ones where they are passionate about. People ask me how to pick suicide as a topic. Well, it runs in my family. The topic picked me. So, I think people don't often sit down and ask themselves, am I the person I came here to be? And am I doing what I came here to do? Because you're on the treadmill, you're making money. Don't stop to think. I love on a plane when I'm talking to somebody. I go, what do you do for a living? They tell me. And they go, do you like it? And if they pause before they answer it, that's all the answer I need. So then I ask them, okay, if I could wave a magic wand and you could do anything you liked to make a living, what would it be? And I mean, they light up. They've got an answer immediately. And a woman wrote me a year later. She goes, Frank, you probably don't remember me, but we sat next to each other on a plane. And you asked me what I'd like to do, really. And you asked me, could I survive financially if I did that? And I told you, yes, my husband makes good money. Well, Frank, guess what? I'm doing it. But she never asked herself the question I asked her. Do you like it? And what would you do if you could do anything you wanted? So sometimes it's simply a matter of asking, are you the person you came here to be? And are you, in fact, doing what you came here to do? And the third one is, are you living up to your expectations or somebody else's?
I was just reading a book, and I'm trying to remember which one. I'm in several book clubs where it was kind of that thing. We can't live our lives to others' expectations. It's really about what do we want.
It's called individuation.
Okay.
I've got one of my TEDx coaching clients got a TEDx on individuation. And it is that he was a banker because he believed his mother would be proud to have a banker for a son. And by the way, when he quit banking, his second wife left him because she enjoyed the prestige of being married to a banker, and his mother never spoke to him again except by text.
What?
So it's not a benign process. If you've been living up to other people's expectations and you go a different direction, just be prepared. They may not, they may not like that.
So you mentioned a little bit about TEDx. And most people watching on the entrepreneurial world, I especially think everybody knows about TEDx. And you've done how many TEDx talks?
I did my 10th in July. I've got my 11th, the 14th of this month, and my 12th on the 12th of January.
Is that a record of like the most?
Yeah, I can't find anybody with more than 5. Bill Gates has 8. So, but again, every last one of them is on one aspect of mental health or another. So each one builds my brand.
Excellent. Excellent. So where can people go online to find out about you, to find out more and check out those TEDx talks?
Actually, mentalhealthcomedian.com, mentalhealthcomedian.com. And when you arrive there, you'll notice on the homepage, there's nothing but it screams suicide prevention speaker and training. Now you put up a URL earlier, howtomakemoneyspeaking.com. Nothing on that one about suicide prevention speaking. Again, I believe you need to, when they land there, they find exactly what they came looking for.
Yeah.
They can put a drop-down menu for other programs. That's fine. And you can link the two sites, but make that page, again, one idea. One idea. That's TEDx. One idea worth spreading.
Do me a favor. Tell us what we can find at this How to Make Money Speaking URL.
How to
Make money speaking. How to make moneyspeaking.com URL that's here. What's there for the audience?
Oh, it shows you the curriculum. Do you want to work on cruises? There's a curriculum. Do you want to work at colleges? Curriculum. Do you want to work for corporations? Same thing. Associations, same thing. And do you want a TEDx? So you'll see how what the program looks like, what you would learn, and the process.
Awesome. So do check that out if you're wanting to do more speaking as well. And Frank, in just a minute, I'm going to ask any last minute thoughts that you want to share with the group. Though I do want to remind everybody watching, as always, the third Tuesday of the month is our More Abundant Entrepreneur Show at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will have a segment on more money, more time, more fun. Come and join us on the third Tuesday of the month. All right, Frank, we are wrapping up. The riches are in the niches. Any last minute things that we need to consider before you let us go?
Well, I believe speaking for entrepreneurs can provide you visibility, brandability, and profitability. So consider speaking to build your brand. I don't care if you're in real estate or insurance or financial services. I believe you need to build a brand, and speaking is a great way. And if you're looking to speak, a friend of mine wrote a book called The Message of You by Judy Carter. The Message of You. The subtitle, Turn Your Life into a Money-Making Speaking Career.
Love it, love it, love it. And if any of you are watching that thinking, but Tiffanie, I'm afraid to speak in public. So was I when I was invited to my very first networking event in 2005. They would have told me, Tiffanie, you're going to get on stage. Well, not on stage, stand up at my seat and talk for 30 seconds to a group of 20 folks. I would not have gone. I was so scared to speak in public. But I've been calling myself a professional speaker, doing this full time since 2008. So don't let that fear of public speaking get in your way if that's an issue.
And here's a tip for professional speakers.
Ooh.
I just signed up for something called Talkadot, TALKADOT.com. It's a QR code that goes on the screen, and then you put a promo code with it. And you have them fill out a survey after you tell them about 10 minutes before the end. If you fill out the survey, you'll get the freebie. And it says in the survey, do you have an event that you want Tiffanie to speak at? And then you can leave testimonials. And the company, by the way, started by a speaker, extremely customer service friendly. The day after I did my first one, he emailed me, "Hey Frank, I saw your numbers. Let's get on Zoom and talk about it."
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, I want to say thank you so very much. It has been a pleasure to have you here with us to share with us. Any closing thoughts?
Yes. Go deep, not wide.
That always reminds me of the song Deep and Wide. I don't know your Chapel Hill, if that's Southern enough. I grew up Southern Baptist, and there's a song Deep and Wide.
Yeah. Yep. Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
That always makes me think of it. Yeah. I spent a decade in Charlotte. So Southern, let's go.
Yep. Yeah. My pronouns, if you go to my LinkedIn, every now and then somebody actually sees them and writes me. My two pronouns are y'all and all y'all.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally changing my pronouns to y'all now. All right. Well, thank you so very much, Frank. It's been a pleasure. Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you next week as we work to create more abundant entrepreneurs. Happy